Am I the happiest man alive? I haven't met every man alive, but I would say that I'm probably up there. I think like a lot of us, I spent most of my life setting big goals for myself. And I would think, as soon as I get this thing, then I can be happy. And the thing is, over the course of my life, I would actually get the things that I wanted. I wasn't any happier than when I started. And at some point, you have to stop and look at yourself and think, why am I working so hard for something that doesn't actually bring me any joy? And I mean, nothing was really handed to me in life. Like, my mom up until recently used to live on a boat floating around the San Francisco Bay. My father, until he died, ran a small vitamin shop, paid my own way through school. I worked my way up in my career. And at some point, I became so obsessed with money and so obsessed with work and completely tied my self-worth to my productivity into something that gives me zero reward. And now look at me. I did it. Oftentimes people try to give you advice on how to live a better life. Like all these get-rich-quick schemes and all these entrepreneurs being like, if you wake up at 4 a.m. and do a 3-hour workout and spend 2 hours networking. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be happy doing that. Happiness doesn't come from work. Happiness comes from my time in quarantine to really sit down and think about, why am I happy? And I've come up with a list of the top 10 things that you can do at home right now to be happier now. It's a good list and you should try it out. Step 1. Number 1, practicing mindfulness. If you wake up at 4 a.m. and do a 3-hour workout and spend 2 hours networking, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be happy doing that. This is such a cop-out because I'm sure everyone has told you this at some point in your life, but it really works. Here's the thing. How often are you eating lunch thinking about what are you going to eat for dinner? I do this all the time, and it is so freaking annoying. At the end of the day, how much of our time do we invest thinking about the past or thinking about the future? You can think about the future all you want,
and suddenly there's a global pandemic and you're trapped in your house and all of your plans go away. And what was the point of all of that work?
Sorry. But practicing mindfulness doesn't necessarily mean sitting down and meditating for an hour a day. Here's what you do. Spend a minute whenever you feel like you're overwhelmed and focus on what you smell. Don't try to name all the smells you can smell. Just smell and see what happens. Because oftentimes when we focus on our smell, it brings us to the present moment. And that's what we want. And then after a minute of that, think about, what do you hear? Hearing things brings you to the present. Do it for each of your senses. Really take a moment to observe anytime you want. And I guarantee just a minute of this at a time, over time, build a practice of mindfulness. And eventually you stop thinking about the future as much because you notice that right now is not so bad. Think about happy memories. So what we do is we close our eyes and we go back to those moments. Try to remember as much as you can those sensory elements, right? What were the smells in that moment? What could I see? What were the sounds? Really bring yourself back to it. I remember one time I was on a road trip with my dad, and he used to love listening to motivational speakers. What he said really stuck with me. Rather than setting goals, think about the feeling you want to get when you get the thing that you want, and spend time focusing on that feeling and really trying to feel it, and the universe will start providing things that feel that feeling. It might be bullshit, but I will say that focusing on these happy memories and allowing yourself to feel that happiness, it stays with you even after you let go of the memory. And if we can do that throughout our day, then again, it builds up that happiness muscle and allows us to just remember what it feels like to be happy. And that's something that we can build over time. And then as you get more happy memories, you have more things to reflect upon. Number 3, keep yourself around happy things. For instance, I was just sitting on the balcony getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, and I thought, these mosquitoes aren't making me happy, so I'm gonna move inside. We spend so much of our time investing our energy into maybe relationships that we feel are more obligations than joyful experiences. What are things that make me happy, and how do I bring those things into my life more. For instance, if there's certain people in your life that bring you happiness, hang out with them. Invest in those relationships. If there are people in your life that don't make you happy, maybe don't spend as much time with them. If you don't like the color of your house, change it. Then do it in other areas of your life. All I'm saying is that if we spend 5 hours a day watching unsolved mysteries, can I say on here? Then yeah, that's a lot of time feeling sad and angry and frustrated because they never solve the mysteries. Why would you watch a mystery show where they don't solve the mysteries? That's just pointless. And that brings me to number 4. Treat yourself. This one's actually a hard one for a lot of people. I am an expert in self-care. At the end of the day, I think a lot of us have been trained to feel guilty when we prioritize ourselves. But our mental health and physical health and emotional health and spiritual health are extremely important to everything else in our lives. How are we expected to help other people or do our jobs well if we're not being taken care of? For instance, for me, back when I was working 14 hours a day and being absolutely crazy, I let myself one day a month lay in bed all day and watch Netflix and order in delivery. Because ultimately, not doing anything can still be productive because our brains need to shut off and our bodies need to shut off. And even if getting yourself a little ice cream cone, you know is gonna make you really happy, then get yourself a little ice cream cone every once in a while. It's always the little things that make ourselves happy. Just do it, you know? Yeah, just treat yourself. Number 5, you've all heard before, and everyone says this is the key to happiness, but again, it actually works, and that's to show gratitude. I think oftentimes we get so focused on our own unhappiness that we forget other people exist, if that makes sense. This can be something as small as giving someone a compliment. It sounds so weird, and we tell ourselves that it's like wrong and inappropriate when you see someone walking down the street and you're like, you know, hey, nice shoes, or like, you look great, or like, oh, I love that smile. Saying nice things about people, even random strangers that you walk past down the street, can be a really life-changing experience for them, but it also feels really good for you, and it costs nothing because it only brings good things. Number 6. Spend time in nature. This is a scientific fact, I think, that spending time in nature is naturally good for our blood pressure. It's good for our happiness levels. We were meant to be in nature. We're not meant to be in cement buildings, not touching the ground. I'm literally bare ass feet right now. Can I zoom in on this? What is the iPhone? Can someone? Again, for some of us, we have better access to nature than others, but there's this great thing called forest bathing. My friend literally wrote a book on it. Let's see if I can do a little graphic pop-up here. Beep. Just being around trees, being around plants, and focusing our energy into them. Like really focus on color, focus on texture, focus on smell, touch them, hug a tree. You can hug a tree. Brings us happiness instantly and calms us down. So take time whenever you can, walk barefoot in nature, get yourself in the grass, get yourself to the beach, touch a plant, touch it just softly, gently. That's not poison oak, right? I don't think they have that here. Number 7 is a tricky one, but probably the most profound. And it's probably like the center of Buddhism, maybe, is what probably some book told me at some point. And that's to let go of our goals and expectations. One of the biggest factors of disappointment is having an expectation and not having it be fulfilled. Like, for instance, I'm filming right now and some lady in a bungalow next to me is singing. And I could sit here and be like, I'm literally filming a YouTube video for all 3 of my followers right now. What an inconvenient experience. Or I could be like, that's so cool that this lady is performing just for me. It's a mindset switch. I like to use the analogy of, in Italy, it's like a good thing if a bird poops on you. Like, they think that's like a sign of good luck. And I think it's hysterical because, of course, if that happened to me in the States, I'd be fucking piss and I'd be super angry. But in Italy, they're like, that's fucking awesome that a bird just pooped on you. Hoorah. I don't know if that's true or not. Someone told me that once, but it's a cool idea. And it helps us to accept where we are now and the bad things that happen now, knowing that hopefully, eventually, one day, something good will happen and we'll be able to say this would have never happened if not for all of those bad experiences. Number 8. Question why you're unhappy. This sounds meta AF, and it takes a lot of self-awareness and a lot of introspection to do this one. But coming off the last example about shifting our perception, I think it's important to ask ourselves, what is really the cause of my unhappiness? Like, for example, oftentimes when my friends say that they're unhappy, they say they're unhappy because they're single, right? Why do you want to be in a relationship? Because I want companionship. Why do you want companionship? This is the thought process. Ask yourself why you feel the way you feel for everything. Because oftentimes the root cause is very different than the situations that we project those causes onto. So for the being single one, oftentimes it comes from being afraid to face the things that we want to face on our own and feeling like having a partner will somehow solve those things or somehow fix the problems that we haven't been able to fix by ourselves. And at the end of the day, other people can't really fix our problems. And when we can get to that point where we can start being our own champions and helping ourselves to be more fulfilled, that opens up massive doors in terms of our self-growth and in terms of our own happiness. Number 9, change what can be changed and accept what can't. Some of us love to complain. Oftentimes we spend a lot of our energy discussing, if only this happened, then I can be happy. There are things we have control of in life, and there are things we don't have control of in life. From my experience, one of the keys to happiness is if there's something in life that we want changed, and we are able to change it ourselves, then we need to just change it. And of course, there are some things that we can't change. I can't change certain things. What I can change is, again, how I react to that. Of course, I'm allowed to be sad about my dad dying. Of course, I can go through my grieving process. I can't change the fact that coronavirus happened and I got trapped in Thailand. What I can change is how I experience my life here. Whether or not we accept something or whether or not we like the way that things are now, everything will always change. From here, how will I choose to act? And it's in that decision-making process that we can actually make the world a better place and bring positivity and bring happiness to ourselves and to other people. Accept however you're feeling. I've had a lot of friends tell me that they're just unhappy people, that they're just not good at experiencing happiness. And for a long time after my father passed, I felt like I was an unhappy person. I would literally describe myself to other people as a sad person. We experience emotions. Let's just pretend that our reason to be here is to experience life, right? If that's the case, then is it really right that we would only experience one emotion? Why would we just experience happiness all the time? Why would we just experience unhappiness all the time? It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be flustered. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. As long as we don't let that become part of our identity. Allowing myself to say, I'm experiencing sadness right now, and that's fine. And I'm going to sit in my sadness, and I'm going to listen to sad music, and I'm going to watch Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind 3 times in a row. Like, these things are fine when we're experiencing those emotions. That doesn't say anything about me, and it doesn't say anything about what's going to happen in the next moment. And if you stuck with me for this long, then I commend you, because I have been talking a lot. Again, this is coming from someone who is very happy, so I would highly recommend listening to me. Try this out. Leave your little feedbacks in the comments section below, and I will post another video for you soon. Sending you love from Thailand. I'm Dan Sherman, and stay classy. What the fuck am I talking about? These are the important